All right, welcome family. Just finalizing my setup here, and of course we will jump into things. Okay. Excellent. Okay, welcome Space Stamper, AJ, Cryptlex, Chris, I Love Fried Rice, Myojo, Nip, Danny, Oxy, G-Time, Bloomer, Darren, Mouse, Oakcamp, Killer Bean, Joe Mama Fat, Crypto Krill. Welcome everyone. Come on down to AMA chat. That's where we will be hanging out. I hope you guys are excited about Preon. Let's go. Things are getting ever so closer. So let's go ahead and get started. On that note of Preon, I do just want to reiterate that Preon will launch in stages. So remember that upon the first launch of Preon, depositing collateral and borrowing star will be available. And the goal of this phase is going to be to increase awareness of star and also incentivize star liquidity via our partners such as Chronos. So that is the goal of that first stage, but it will be a functional, first stage launch, right? You will be able to deposit collateral, you will be able to borrow the star stablecoin, and there will be incentivized star liquidity pools. So that is the first stage of Preon's launch. And after this stage has had enough time to mature, we can then move forward with the next stage of Preon's launch, which will involve the Preon token white sale, pre-sale, whitelist and pre-sale. The Preon token with its VE33 tokenomics and Preon's farms, where you will be able to lock Preon as VE Preon, to have governance over Preon, to earn all of the different fee structures through Preon, and of course direct emissions to Preon's farms, which will also further incentivize star liquidity. Yeah, there's different ways of looking at that. I think the first phase and then second phase, but we're also using the term open beta, so different ways of looking at the same exact thing. But it is important to recognize that there are those different stages of launch and what you will be able to do with each stage. As you hopefully have seen and have joined by now, we have opened up our Zealy campaign to help educate you guys, involve you guys in the launch of Preon as much as possible. Some of you are really pushing into that, which is really cool to see all the community involvement and excitement through the Zealy campaign. So of course you will find different quests to boost your XP. We've got some upcoming early adopter NFTs, which should be coming soon. I could say I've seen some of the artwork and it looks awesome, phenomenal. Of course, educational content on Zealy and much more. This was more of an issue initially, not so much now, but due to the high influx of submissions, please bear with us if you are not brought in right away or if something isn't confirmed right away. But we are turning over and going through these regularly. So please bear with us if there is a delay. We have also added an entire Zealy Quest channel in the Sphere Discord for easy reference and links as well. And of course, we will continue adding quests and more as we ramp up towards the launch of Preon. Nip, does the early stage produce fees revenue right off the bat for YL Sphere? Um, in some sense, yes. So you have to think of it this way, right? Uh, Primarily because Sphere will hold VE Preon, and VE Preon is the yield generating token of Preon. That is where Sphere is going to earn its yield. However, because Preon has these abilities, has its ability to integrate with Dyson, there is a lot of potential fee revenue to be had there right off the bat, because there will be liquidity going through Dyson into Preon. So it's not like it's yeah, exactly. So it's not like it's a all or none. There's just different revenue streams that are accessible now because of our CDP protocol. Yes, sir. Good question in the AMA chat by Nip. Preon time. I just saw that. That's nice. All right. We recently dropped info about the power of 3, and spoiler alert, this is the topic of my video for Friday. Preon, Balancer, and Aura. Technically, it's the power of 4 because Dyson also plays a big role in this. But just a quick breakdown. We've talked about how LSDFi BPTs are going to be a key component of Preon and leveraging them. And now this is kind of the final piece of the puzzle in terms of how it all comes together. So within that breakdown, you can deposit liquidity into Balancer. You will receive your LSDFi BPT. So let's say WST ETH, WETH, BPT. And then you can take that BPT and deposit that into Dyson. Kind of similar to how Dyson works right now. So in return, you're going to receive a Dyson LSDFi BPT receipt token. So that receipt token is itself yield bearing, right, through Balancer. And actually, that is going to be amplified through Aura Finance. So Dyson will take the BPT and boost it through Aura Finance. And for those of you unfamiliar with Aura, it is a yield optimizer built on top of Balancer. So normally when staking liquidity on Balancer, you're going to receive BAL tokens as rewards. And those, of course, can either be sold for yield, or they can be combined and vote escrowed with WETH into an 80/20 LP, or BPT, I should say, of BAL and WETH for VE BAL. So then VE BAL holders can earn boosted BAL emissions on their BPT positions up to 2.5 times the normal rate. So Aura simplifies all of this by aggregating VE BAL to provide boosted yields for liquidity providers. All this is to say, coming back full circle, that Dyson will act as an auto compounder on top of Aura. Yes, and so everything is connected. The way my brain works is I feel I have to go through everything, but I also recognize if I get repetitive, sometimes you can feel free to stop me. All right, so now with your Aura amplified, auto compounded Dyson LSDFi BPT receipt token, you can deposit that into Preon, and that will be accepted as collateral to then borrow the Star stablecoin. From then, of course, you can do what you best see fit with Star, which of course potentially includes leveraging your position by taking that Star and using it to create more of the BPT and looping as many times as you see fit, bearing in mind the increased risk that comes with leveraging. But there will, of course, be Star stable pools that will be available, for example, through our partner at Chronos. So I think that's really cool. I think that's really exciting. You're basically getting auto compounded yield that is amplified through Aura for Balancer. You're getting the WST ETH rewards through your LP. That is all happening at the same time as it is being posted up as collateral, so that that yield is continuing to be generated and auto compounded in your position. That means your position, whatever you borrow, that debt will generally become less risky over time because your collateral is growing. And of course, you have additional liquidity through the borrowed Star that you can use as you best see fit for additional yield. Super cool, super exciting, and of course, very potent within the entire ecosystem. As you can imagine, there's many things that we can start to do with that. So, as I mentioned, Star will be incentivized through our partner protocols, and we have dropped info about our continued partnership with Chronos and how important this will be moving forward with the launch of Preon. So, Sphere, of course, was an early launch partner with Chronos and has been working with them since. And Sphere has significant voting power over Chronos thanks to our liquid wrapper solution for VECHR on Dyson, which is SPCHR. And of course, that's going to be able to go a long way for Preon liquidity incentivization. So we also plan to have an AMA with Chronos this Friday. So more of details on that hopefully to come once everything has been finalized. So we'll be able to kind of get some more information about how that partnership will work. On their social medias. So I think those details are still TBD. I believe it will be through Twitter though, if I'm not mistaken. But the Chronos AMA I'm sure will be announced soon, so long as it is indeed taking place. I see CryptoFat typing, which means either good things or I'm in trouble. All right, so CryptoFat confirmed it will be a Twitter space, most likely on Chronos's Twitter. So very good. I am personally looking forward to that. Excellent. All right, next order of business. With relatively few questions this week, though there are some questions that I will certainly get to. They kind of sparked a lot of things I can talk about. But all the same, with kind of relatively few questions this week, and with a lot of attention on Preon recently, I did kind of want to take a moment to bring everything back to the bigger picture of Sphere. So the Sphere Treasury, as mentioned earlier with Nip's question, the Sphere Treasury will have a significant allocation of Preon tokens. Once that stage is live, that Sphere will be able to put to use as VE Preon. VE Preon, of course, will be able to take part in the governance on Preon, including the fee revenue. So beyond that, there are plenty of juicy integrations between Preon and the rest of the Sphere ecosystem. For example, as I mentioned, moving liquidity through Dyson into Preon and leveraging that for additional performance fees, for example. But the big picture of all of these integrations and synergies really simply boils down to yield. So as the Sphere ecosystem, Preon included, generates yield, that all gets funneled to Spherians. So with YL Sphere presently with Sphere V 2.1, that means more real yield, and once it goes live, vSphere as well. So eventually, then, with the transition to Sphere V3 and VE Sphere, this will still mean real yield, but additionally, it will also mean governance over that very same ecosystem that Sphere is. In terms of the yield and the governance. Sorry, I paused there. I just got my YouTube recording may have just had a hiccup there. I apologize. I just want to make sure we're still going. I think we're good. Apologies, everyone. I got a quick notification that recording software stopped and restarted, but it looks like things are still going. So I will continue moving forward unless I hear otherwise. Okay, thank you, Afro. You're good on YouTube. Much appreciated. Yeah, that was weird. This never happened before, so made me nervous. All right. Very good. Let me pause there. I've been talking straight for about 15 minutes, as I do, and see anyone here. Are there any questions in terms of what I've covered so far? And I'm going to take a sip of water. When more questions? Yeah. I think we will see a large influx of questions um, once things start launching. Maybe not, and that's okay. I see, fewer questions is not a bad thing. Hopefully that's reflective of our work at educating through um, this AMA, through the YouTube videos, sure, but also through the Medium articles, the Twitter posts, and of course our awesome team here on the Discord who are answering questions, all the time. Um, I think it's reflective of that we're responding to these questions kind of, in the moment. Hopefully, that's what that means. Acid Jedi. I'm coming back into Sphere community after being away since basically the launch. Wow, welcome back. Uh, been keeping up with moving my sphere around. Anyways, I'm very excited for the future. Awesome, awesome. Well, great to have you back. Let us know if you have any questions. There's been a lot of moving parts, a lot of things kind of going around in the legwork. The ultimate kind of vision for Sphere has not changed, still being one token to rule them all, so to say, um, such that all these different revenue streams and strategies and all these different yield opportunities get funneled down to the Sphere token, so that it can be less confusing for folks looking to become active in the community. Although at the forefront, on initial glance, it can seem very overwhelming. Yomo Fat, that's because we all Gigabrains listen to the AMAs. There we go. Glad to hear the idea is the same as the beginning. Indeed, just building the systems to be successful. That's right. Yep. Especially during this bear market, the team has really, put the pedal to the grindstone and has been in this very long development cycle. And I think Preon has been Sims like to me, this is, I say this jokingly, but to me, like, Sphere is an excuse to make Preon. Almost. Preon is such an interesting um, facet and asset to the Sphere ecosystem that I think we'll see a lot of those synergies really start to emerge. It's a very big piece of the Sphere clockwork, as is the analogy I always like to use. Um, hey, my crypto ROI. Hey, my medication PT. How are you? So I'm doing well, thanks. How about you? So here's my issue. I've been banned from Twitter. For not deleting the authentication thing. Sent an email but nothing back, so I can get Zealy's Twitter suspended. Is there any other way to get whitelist? I feel so robbed. Has been here since day one. Any way to health and wealth? Love Sphere as always. That's I'm really sorry that you're going through that. That must be very, very frustrating for you. Um, I can definitely understand the frustration. I would say, yeah, I would suggest, and I think I might have seen this, opening a support ticket, and seeing if there's any other way that we can potentially offer a whitelist spot or something along that nature. Hopefully it gets resolved through ordinary means on Twitter, but I know with everything going on with Twitter and Elon Musk Moon Man, it's really hard to know. So I do apologize for that, and I wish that there was more reassurance I could give right now. CryptoFat says, I feel pretty confident that in a worst case scenario, you will have alternate ways to get a whitelist spot, winking face. All right. Nip, may you lay out where all the revenues are being made through Preon that will go to YL Sphere. Also, VECRBV, just get excited. Uh-oh. I just get some excited since there's so many ways it does. Haha, yeah. Okay, so off the top of my head, oh boy, here we go. So, um, let's see. Oh my gosh. Performance fees on collateral that is being farmed, right? Uh, Deposit and borrow fees, and repaying, those repaying fees for borrowing. Potentially liquidations. Um, with the second stage launch, there is Preon when you execute the call option and give ETH to the protocol. And then let's see. It really caught me off guard because I'm not prepared with all the different revenue streams. I feel like I'm missing one. Preon. Oh yes, of course, VE Preon bribes through the farms as well. Sphere energies, nice. I like that, Acid Jedi. I really agree with your take on Sim and Preon. He is incredibly proud of Preon by CryptoFat. Yeah, it seems like it just seems like Preon was the kind of the spark, and it's like, oh, but we need Sphere first. Jokingly, of course, but it almost seems that way. There's a lot of passion behind Preon. Oh my gosh, there it is. Thank you. Thank you, Team Clara and Dora. People minting star, redeeming star, liquidations, question marks, collateral yield, Preon redemption, gauge fees, trading fees and bribes, collateral being farmed, collateral deposited in more question marks. So yes, there are many yield streams. But remember too, because of the stages of launch, not all of those sources of yield will be available right from the get-go. And yeah, so CryptoFat just kind of tossing in these pebbles, right? That's just Preon. So consider Liquid Farmed Matic, Sphere Lend. There are still other projects that we have yet to announce that are in development. There's still other ways that the ecosystem can work synergistically. It's cool. It's exciting. And I must sound like a broken record, but my brain always goes back to the clock and the clockwork analogy for Sphere. Like, we have to build each and every cog and make sure that each part is functioning as it should before we can start linking them all together. But man, that process of linking them all together is going to be so satisfying and really cool to explain and watch happen. All right, Acid Jedi. So if I've only ever bought Sphere, I believe it's locked as Wild Sphere right now. Do I need to buy or whitelist Preon to take advantage of Preon? Sorry if I'm misunderstanding. I also need to catch up on my YouTube videos. Yeah, so because the launch of Preon is a separate, it's built by Sphere, but it's a separate contract from Sphere. There are additional steps that need to be taken if you're interested in the pre-sale whitelist for Preon. Wait, am I misunderstanding your question? Oh, yes, I am misunderstanding your question. Do I need to buy or whitelist Preon to take advantage of Preon? No, you do not. So that's the beauty of Sphere, because Sphere will have its own allocation of the Sphere treasury, the Sphere ecosystem treasury itself will receive an allocation of VE Preon, and that yield will get funneled to YL Spherians to Sphere V3 as real yield. So you don't have to use Preon, you don't have to participate in the whitelist in order to still benefit from Preon as a Spherian. And that also extends to the first phase of Preon's launch, because Sphere is the governance token over Dyson. Dyson will essentially be able to leverage liquidity through Preon, and with that will come additional fee revenue for Spherians. Yes, sir. And sorry, yeah, I misunderstood your question initially. But Oxy got me back on track. Thank you, Oxy. Very good. Great questions, great discussions. Two questions in the AMA questions, both from Jason. And I think I was reading in the Sphere chat that Jason will not be on the AMA, but is planning to listen to the recording, which is all good. That's why we record it. But it kind of brings up some interesting points, so I think other people will benefit as well. So Jason wrote, I have a question about how the liquidation of Preon and the backing of Star works. So let's say the liquidation margin is 80% on a vault. So worst case scenario, Star can be 25% over collateralized because 100 is 125% of 80. Is that correct? So if the LTV on a vault is 80%, at most every $1,000 can borrow $800. So yes, even in the worst case scenario, in this example, Star would be over collateralized by 25% for that vault. But it's important to recognize, when I build up these videos, unless there is something already set in stone, most everything I talk about is an example. So 80% LTV was just an example for the video. So the actual vault LTV may be different for different vaults because different types of collateral may have different levels of risk, and we may not want to have as high as an LTV for different vaults. And that will all be, visible in time. So that being said, taking 80% as a, hard and fast rule is not something we should be doing. Further, each vault is itself responsible for its own Star minted from that vault when it comes to liquidations, right? So if Vault A has a million Star that can be minted from it, and Vault B has 2 million Star, then each vault is going to be responsible for paying back that debt should everything get liquidated, for example. Then this is essentially a way of diversifying the backing of the Star token. So again, don't necessarily get caught up on 80% because it was just an example to help illustrate how LTV works. The second part of this question is something that we haven't quite talked about in detail, and I'm thinking I probably will make a video about this. But the question was, when liquidations happens, what does the protocol do with the liquidated funds? Is it somehow used to help with the stabilization of Star? And after that question, I had posted my everything you need to know about liquidations, but Jason still felt his question wasn't answered in terms of what are the actual mechanisms. And I kind of did that on purpose in the video because there just kind of wasn't enough time for it, and it's better suited for a video of its own. But there are different ways of going about helping the stabilization of Star. One of the ways is to take the collateral, the liquidated collateral. So let me back up. Let's say that a liquidation occurs and Preon is forced to pay back the unpaid debt. So one way to do that is to take the liquidated collateral, dismantle it if necessary, say it's an LP, swap those tokens for Star on the market, and then use that Star to repay the loan by simply burning the newly acquired Star tokens. So it's a one-to-one exchange. So that in and of itself can maintain the peg of Star because you're saying, hey, this one Star has the value of $1, and I'm proving that by taking this liquidated collateral, buying Star at that price, and burning it at the one-to-one backing. The problem with this method is that while it does work and it is effective at maintaining the peg, it can be relatively capital inefficient. So another way is through a stability pool. And this is a concept that's been used before in DeFi. So we will talk about this more in the future, but the way a stability pool works is by acting as the first source of liquidity to repay debt. So a stability pool is funded by users who deposit star into it. And then when liquidations occur, star from those stability pool deposits are used to repay debt, and then the star depositors of that pool will receive the liquidated collateral in return. So what this means is, because there is over collateralization, it's expected that stability pool depositors will receive a greater dollar value of collateral relative to the debt that they helped pay off, because that liquidated collateral is going to them. So then what you get basically is, instead of the protocol needing to use liquidated collateral to buy star off the market, it can basically buy star from the stability pool depositors, and in return, the stability pool depositors will receive liquidated assets at a discount thanks to over collateralization. So hopefully that makes sense. So let's say that you are the only star depositor in the stability pool with 1,000 star deposited, and let's say there's only one borrower who gets liquidated with $1,100 of WETH collateral covering $1,000 of star. The protocol will take your 1,000 deposited star and give you the $1,100 of WETH, so you make a 10% profit. Again, just an example as always, but I hope that kind of helps paint the picture of how a stability pool works. And of course, it is more capital efficient than swapping for star on the market, because the stability pool star is readily available, slippage free, and then users actually get to directly benefit from liquidations versus that collateral simply getting sold on the market, basically further affecting price and leading potentially to slippage loss. So hopefully that all makes sense. I know we haven't really talked much about the Preon stability pool, but again, it's not a unique concept in the world of DeFi, but it is something we're looking to integrate within Preon. Again, for those reasons that it is essentially boils down to it being more capital efficient and gives users another means of earning yield through Preon. A partisan, there's some not that build out with the partisans one element. Yeah, it's super cool. It's super cool how much thought is being put into all of these different mechanisms and the tokenomics of these different protocols. It is really wild. All right. So what I was talking about there in terms of liquidations, LTV, the stability pool. Are there any questions about that? And I know, again, that Jason, I don't think is here in the AMA, but hopefully that answers your question. And if not, feel free to drop us a message in the different chats, Sphere chat, Dyson chat, or again in AMA questions, of course, and I will be more than happy to answer it next week. Very cool. All right, I think there was one other question about Kato. I'm not sure where Kato is. I haven't seen him around. But yeah. All right. So what are you guys thinking in terms of, do you have questions about the upcoming ecosystem components? Is there a particular part of Preon that you're excited about? I can list off several. As a Jedi, I'm just excited generally, but woefully ignorant, growing my knowledge though, and that that is okay. One of the big concepts behind Sphere is to simplify things as much as possible down to one token. So I think that's one of the beauties of Sphere is we can have all of these different strategies and protocols and ecosystem components kind of running in the background. And as a Spherian, you kind of don't necessarily have to pay attention to it if you don't want to, but still benefit from it thanks to the real yield funnel going to you, trickling down from the ecosystem. So I think that's a very important aspect of Sphere, because the reality is that these are very complex concepts that we're talking about. These are very um, you know very thought through, very developed protocols, and people can very easily get lost in the details. And more than anything, we don't want you doing something that you don't understand, because that can be very dangerous, right, from a financial standpoint. So we want you to be able to understand everything, and we want you to only take action with what you feel comfortable with doing. You know, Obviously, it ultimately comes down to your decision, but we want to provide that education as much as possible. And again, at the end of the day, if there are things that just seem either too complicated or simply don't make sense to you, or or you just maybe don't have time to sit down and understand all of these different concepts and things, which, hey, we live in a busy world, and unfortunately, and that can happen sometimes. Fortunately, things can get simplified simply down to the Sphere token, and you don't have to feel like you're missing out on anything, because it's all still going to Spherians. And again, that's one of the coolest parts of this project. It's one of the reasons, I've still been passionate about it after all this time, and it's just so nice to have something where you can say, there's all these complexities, but at the end of the day, it can still be something very, very simple. Excellent. I think we are the only project that we don't want our investors to blindly ape in. Yeah. We I think that's really something that I've appreciated as a content creator in Sphere, is that the education component has been very supported, right? We want to educate the community as much as possible, and I'm constantly trying to think of better ways of presenting information and different questions people might have of how to do things and why they might want to do something and why they might not want to do something. And so long as we can cover as much as we possibly can, we're just hopefully giving enough education so that you can then go and make informed decisions on your own, and feel comfortable about those decisions. Or if you're taking risk, know what those risks are, know what the red flags are to look for, so that you can navigate that risk, appropriately. Crypto Krill, oh, always enjoy listening to your AMAs. Hey, thanks. Love to chat with you and Lilo sometime about collaboration. Feel free to drop a support ticket in terms of co-marketing. Just let us know, what where your thoughts are, and we'll see if we can do something together. Love how you guys put community education and collaboration at the forefront, and really take the time to break down these complex topics for people of all levels. We appreciate that, and if there's any, we're open to feedback as well. So if there's any way that we can break down something differently, or if you feel that there's an aspect of the ecosystem or what have you that kind of merits or needs more explanation, just let us know. You can always feel free to at me in the Sphere chat, the Dyson chat, and like, hey, this would make a good video idea. And if I think it will fit in, then then I will be more than happy to kind of work it into a video. perhaps a topic of its own, or maybe working it into a already existing idea. Very open to that. So feel free to do so. I'm always open to content suggestions because the content's for you, right? The content's for you guys. Oh, that's weird. Okay. Well, I thought I saw that there was another AMA question, but maybe someone posted and deleted. That is okay. Oh, okay. Yeah, no worries. If you're in these AMAs and you're here on the Discord, dropping the question in AMA chat or in the AMA questions, I'll be able to see them. It's just after the AMAs or in between the AMAs, to get your question addressed it'll have to go into AMA questions, and hopefully there's no confusion about that because we open and close the AMA chat only for the AMAs, so hopefully that's straightforward. I see what it is that you're trying to do. Oh dear. Well, on that note, my, look at the time. No, but in all seriousness, we're reaching about the 45-minute mark, so we do still have some time. If you guys still have any questions or thoughts on the ecosystem, of course, Preon is the focus of what we're doing right now. I've seen a lot of really good suggestions about other parts of the ecosystem going through our ideas pages, which is really good to see. And these different things can be looked at and addressed, certainly in time, but especially now with the that first stage of launch of Preon on the horizon, we want to make sure that we're doing everything we can, and we're juggling a lot of different things as best we can to make sure that that launch goes as smoothly as possible. Hmm. I'm just double checking the recording again because I'm nervous. Okay, we're still good. All right, fam. Well, that is all the information that I had that I wanted to cover. So once again, anyone here have any thoughts, questions, concerns, funny jokes that they'd like to share before we close off this AMA for this week? Preon memes, funny ha-has. I'm personally a big fan of memes. I mean, who is not? But I also like puns. I'm one of those people. Puns make me very happy. We do. We need some Preon gifts. We need some more Preon memes that we can circulate. All right. You're gonna run. Okay. Well, thanks for dropping in. Thanks for your questions. I hope you were able to address everything as best we could. And I actually think it's a good time to close off the AMA here as well, unless anyone has a pressing question. But of course, you can always feel free to drop it in AMA questions, and or in the Sphere chat, Discord chat. We'll be here. We're happy to answer questions. We're happy to, continue discussions in the different chats after the AMA. I know it's late for a lot of people. I really appreciate you all being here for your participation. We had some really good discussions this week. Hopefully, we covered some good information, and you learned a little something about the stability pool and how those can work. and of course we'll be able to have more information about those about that in due time. And in the meantime, hope everyone has a good rest of your week, and always remember you matter for who you are, and I'll see you next time. Sorry, T1. Take care, everyone. Bye bye.